Exclusive interview with him as he alleges, amongst many other things, criminality on the part of the Chief Justice, insisting she must go along with the EC Chair, Madam Jean Mensah. Also this evening, security forces intensify anti-Galamsey fight with 26 illegal miners, including Chinese nationals, arrested in the Western region. And we engage an official from the Forestry Commission on the government cracking down and what it means for the future of Ghana's protected lands. This is Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7, the holiday edition. We're back with the details. And you're welcome once again. 5:04 here on 3FM 92.7. We're streaming live on Facebook, the handle 3FM 927. I am Mawuena Egbeta, and we're getting into the news summaries for you straight up. My colleague Safwa Bwahin is here with the exclusive details. Safwa, what do we have?
Thank you, Mawuena. Welcome to the news summary segment. Let's go straight into the details. Into first story now. The Ghana Police Service has implemented nationwide security measures to ensure a safe and peaceful Easter celebration in 2025. A statement issued by the Director of Public Affairs, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Grace Ansakrufi, said officers have been deployed on roads and within communities across all regions to provide security for Easter-related activities. Into our second story, security forces have intensified Ghana's fight against illegal mining, arresting 26 suspects, including 8 Chinese nationals, in a major operation at a forest reserve near Samraboy in the western region. The coordinated raid, led by the Police Intelligence Directorate with support from the CID, National Operations Directorate, and formed police units, successfully dismantled a well-equipped illegal mine in Galamsey site. The suspects, comprising 8 Chinese and 18 Ghanaians, were found actively engaged in mining activities within the protected reserve. Away from that, lawyers for the prime suspect in the murder of investigative journalist Ahmed Swale are calling for expedited proceedings in the case against their clients. They allege that the prosecution is deliberately causing delays to frustrate the court process. Into last story now, the Odumase Circuit Court in the Eastern region has sentenced a 25-year-old man, Baba Issa Zakaria, to a 10-year prison term, and the culprit, an Okada rider and resident of Agomenya, trafficked young Nigerian woman into his jurisdiction for prostitution. And this brings us to the end of the news summary segment. And over to you, Mawuena.
Many thanks, Safwa. And the details on Galamsey and all of it we'll be bringing to you shortly if you stay with us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. But we're getting straight into our very top story for you this evening, having to do with the Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, Mustapha Gbande, who's dared the Chief Justice, Gertrude Saba Tokonu, to leak the full content of the petitions seeking her removal. Now, according to him, the Chief Justice deliberately leaked aspects of the petition in order to court public sympathy. 3 individuals have petitioned President John Mahama seeking the removal of the Chief Justice of allegations of impropriety. Among others, Mustapha Gbande says the allegations are so damning she will not be able to escape the ultimate punishment. He's been speaking to me in an exclusive interview. Just quickly on the Chief Justice, the minority says that you're instigating processes to remove her, and that is dangerous. Let me put it simply, it's dangerous for the country's judiciary. How do you respond?
Well, we haven't amended our laws. The same laws give President Akufo-Addo the right to remove the Charlotte Osei. They are all independent institutions. She removed her. We have come not just repeating precedents, but we deal with everyone case by case basis. The Chief Justice would have to go. The Electoral Commission chairperson and other politically exposed directors would have to go. And indeed, they will go. It's just a matter of time, so that we can fill those places with persons who are not politically exposed. But
are you not lending into the arguments by the NPP that this is deliberate, this is machinations from the NDC?
Are there people who the nation listens to? They are not people who have a voice. These were the very individuals who lived in this country and supervised all the wrong things that were happening. And we are trying to correct because it affects them. Look, President Akufo-Addo kept and packed the judiciary so that all the appointees who will be taken to court will escape. Yeah, but you are calling for accountability, but if you don't clean the judiciary so that law takes precedence over the judiciary, confidence of the Ghanaians take precedence over personalities, we are not going anywhere. You see, the current Chief Justice is politically exposed.
Where's due process in all of this argument you make that she must go and all of that?
Process is when the provisions of the Constitution have been triggered. People have petitioned. And petitions are still ongoing. They are coming.
There are more petitions against the...
Yes.
How many? We've heard of 3. How many more do we know about?
The Chief Justice knows that there are more petitions against her, including issues that borders on criminality. And all of these, fidelity of the constitutional provisions have been given respect.
You mentioned criminality in relation to the Chief Justice. What is the criminality that's...
She should leak the petitions that was given to her to respond. She should leak that one too. She's giving it to them, but they should leak it so that Ghanaians will get to know what the contents are. But
you've seen the content and there are matters of criminality in there?
That the Chief Justice demanded the President to furnish her with copies of the petition. That have been done. She should leak it. She should give it to the public so that you have an appreciation of what the issues are. But having said so, I'm just saying the due process is when a petition has been received and the President decides that the Constitution says I have to give it to the Council of State to seek their opinions. And the President forwards same to the Council of State, which is made up of persons even believed to be MPP, persons who have led the institution of the judiciary before, persons who are more respected in this country. They will look at it and recommend. Then the President then comes back to look at the issues. That is due process. Due process is broken when you go and get MPP people to be making noise that you should be protected. She's rather, killing her protection by letting politicians and going to Central Region to organize. So the Chief Justice is now a General Secretary of a political party. When she's faced with crisis, she goes to organize public, her family people and her constituency, which is Apenyo King's constituency, to do demonstration. Do you want to have that person as your Chief Justice?
These are quite serious allegations that the Chief Justice is organizing persons to demonstrate against the ongoing processes for a removal.
I'm a politician, and we are in this country. We know how demonstrations are done, okay? And I'm saying that the Chief Justice getting, MPs who do not advance law, but emotional blackmail of their inability to process credible arguments that will enhance the performance and the trust, the confidence of the public as far as the judiciary is concerned, yet believe that we should espouse political interest in all these matters, will not save the Chief Justice. Because the ordinary Ghanaian believes that justice have become so expensive, okay, in this country. The ordinary Ghanaian sees the CJ as a politically exposed. Even without any wrongdoing, it's important that we preserve the sanctity of those institutions. And so it's also good that President Mahama did not take the law into his hands, but he has triggered fair process, due process, processes that protects the credibility of the Chief Justice as far as these matters are concerned, to ensure that she's given the opportunity to respond, let other bodies look at it, and then we take it from there. I don't see why people are, at speed introducing the presidency into some of these matters. Look, if Ghanaians believe that the president has a problem, they will go to the polls and they'll vote him out. Is that not so? Do you say that because you love him and others say that they don't love him, there is some sort of manipulation on the minds of Ghanaians? Ghanaians say that we don't want the woman, let her go. You know, all persons who have misconducted themselves in the past should not be leading our public institutions.
Let's talk oral briefly. Is it a lost cause? A lot of people voted for the NDC because you were going to prosecute persons who've looted. We haven't heard quite a lot since then.
Let me assure you that anybody who have stolen from this country will be arrested. But you see, people want us to do it very fast. It can't be done that way. Because, look, if you go to NIB, there are elements there at the analysis who are MPP people. And all they do is to leak information. Okay? If you go to some of these sensitive institutions, people are still there who are leaking investigative informations. So if you start without cleaning up the place, you are fighting an already defeated cause. If you don't have evidence to prosecute, don't arrest anybody. Nobody will be persecuted. But let me tell you, any individual who have been found to have or have been believed to have done something wrong to this country will have the test of the law. And we have to allow that to happen so that the political class will have some fear even when they are going to commit some crimes. Look, the MPP led by Penyo Marcus, not their grassroots, because the cause of calling for justice and prosecution involve even MPP people who are Ghanaian. It is only Penyo Marcus and his group who are obstructing any path to, hold people accountable. And that obstruction will not stand. When the government is fully structured and begin to move, you will see action in this country. Today, if national security is leading and championing a cause that to clean up our country, they should be commended. Now, the conversation about police not being in charge is not true. Every operation that is being done has the collaboration of the police, the military, the BNI, NIB, and other security agencies. National security is a body that consists of all these entities. Don't also forget that the change or the reshuffle in the police administration just occurred. And that it's just so reasonable that you allow the police administration itself to restructure. Because there are some elements within the police system who are worse than politicians. And those elements will have to be curtailed to ensure that professionalism is come back to work. Now, if you, a journalist, even arrest a criminal, I will be happy. Because we are curbing crime. So that conversation about police administration diminishing is not true. It is only a diversionary conversation by the MPP. Look, the MPP complained about Galamsey recently, very fiercely, as though they were not the people who led deliberately, enabled people to mine in our forest reserves and our water bodies. Okay? We came into government barely 100 days, they are accusing us. When we began to do operations to curb Galamsey activities, they say, why are you burning machines? Why are you burning machines? So they want to ensure that the business of growing this country, stabilizing this country, is politics as usual. Right. And that is not the focus of this government.
That's Mustafa Gbande, is the Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, speaking to me. Is an extended conversation on a number of subject matters, a number of which he's touched on, but also speaking as well to the first 100 days of President John Mahama's second term. We're going to, on that very fiery interview, take this very quick break here on Hot Edition. When we return, we zoom straight into the conversation in relation to the country's fight against illegal mining and what appears to be fresh action taken with respect to 26 individuals arrested. This is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're back shortly.
Hello, Ghana. It's a new year and Bill's Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business,
This is still Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. It's the Good Friday edition. Let's take you into our fight against Galamsey right now, because security forces have wrapped up Ghana's fight against illegal mining, arresting 26 suspects, including Chinese nationals, in a major operation at a forest reserve near Samreboy in the Western region, in a coordinated raid led by the Police Intelligence Directorate with support from the CID, National Operations Directorate, and Farm Police units. Authorities dismantled a well-equipped Galamsey operation. The raid resulted in the arrest of 8 Chinese nationals and 18 Ghanaians who were engaged in illegal mining in the protected reserve. Police sources indicate that the targeted concession is linked to a Quanta mining company owned by Bernard Entribo, known popularly as Chairman Wuntumi. Authorities seized an arsenal of mining equipment and weapons, also including 6 pump-action guns with over 150 rounds of ammunition, 6 water pumping machines, 3 excavators, and 3 payloaders. 6 machetes as well were discovered, 2 Toyota pickup trucks and 1 Toyota RAV4, and the suspects remain in custody. And we're going to connect shortly with Elikem Kotoko, who is the Deputy Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, and then get details for you on the findings of what it is that we've got. But we know as well that the Western Regional Minister, Joseph Nelson, he's urged the Western Police Command to renew its commitment to fighting against illegal mining without compromise. He's been speaking to the police leadership at Takwa, where Mr. Nelson, amongst many other things, is advocating for a no compromise whatsoever in the fight against illegal mining.
Our environment is being destroyed in the name of finding gold and making money. The lives of the rest of us are being put into serious jeopardy. We know it. We know it. But I believe that we're always thinking that, okay, well, if the water body is destroyed, why? I'm able to access bottled water. And of course, you're able to afford it, bottled water. And so who cares? If they are destroying their own environment, who cares? Perhaps that is the thinking of some of us. But that will be most unfortunate if that is the mindset, because ultimately it will come to hurt all of us. And it's already hurting. The diseases and, all the negative effect that this menace is wreaking on our lives. You may not be directly engaged, with the effect of this distraction. Perhaps you don't live in Ekianwa, you don't live in all of these places where the water bodies have been destroyed, and certainly you don't drink from them. And so, the question is, should you care? Today, our food security as a country is in serious danger. The very land that we used to devote to the planting of cassava and the basic food stock that we grow. I mean, today, as you drive around, you see cassava farms.
That's the Western Regional Minister. Let's return now, speak to Elikem Kotoko on that major operation undertaken earlier today, in the early hours of today, if I can put that rightly. Elikem Kotoko is the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, who's joined us via the telephone lines. Elikem, many thanks for speaking to us, and a happy Easter to you.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be on your program this evening.
Now, let's get straight into it. And this is about the second or third major operation in the Western region this week, targeted at ridding our forests of illegal miners. Walk us through this latest operation and how you went about it.
Thank you. This is one of many operations that will be conducted across the country. And I would first and foremost want to commend His Excellency President Mahama for walking the talk. He has given the necessary support to every institution that seeks to fight this battle, because it is a threat to our existence as humans, and also to the Sector Minister, Honorable Amar Kofi Bua, and the Defense Minister, Dr. Mani Buama. The reason I have to thank them is because they have decided to deploy their men, and the IGP to deploy their men in the discharge of this duty to make sure that we keep our water bodies clean, or we begin the exercise to restore our water bodies. And the Western region cannot be left out, so can the Eastern not be left out, and some other regions. But we have begun at some places, and there's no end in sight in terms of this battle, to make sure that our brothers and sisters who are engaged in this act are told to stop destroying our water bodies, destroying our vegetation or our forest reserves, and also the food crops that we eat at large. So, yes, the exercise was aimed at ensuring that we go after those who are illegally mining in not only in forest reserves, but destroying our water bodies and the
And these illegal miners, where the operation took place today, where are they as we speak? Hello, Alikem. Right, we're speaking to Alikem Kotoko, is the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission. Let's try and reconnect with him right now. Alikem, I was asking, we saw the operation, we've seen videos and excerpts of it. Where are the suspects as we speak, the individuals who were picked up engaged in these illegalities?
The suspects have been brought to Accra for onward actions. The relevant authorities that need to deal with them will be doing so. And as you are aware, there are some foreign nationals also involved. And these are people who we have questioned why they would leave their country to only want to come and destroy ours. But we cannot blame them also entirely, because it takes our people who also either lead them to such places. And it is also an avenue I would want to use the opportunity to tell most of our local authorities to aid government in this battle, especially our chiefs. If we have their full support, we'll be halfway through this battle.
If you have their full support, you'll be halfway through the battle. And we understand, based on details coming through, that these illegal miners, or this particular concession, is linked to a politically connected company, Akwanta Mining. How is the Commission ensuring investigations are impartial and that all perpetrators face consequences regardless of their status?
Well, the action being undertaken has no political connotation. And therefore, if a political person is in one way or the other involved, the fellow will be dealt with just according to law. Insightful it would be to say that, as you saw in the third video, they wrote Akwanta Mining Company Limited on the building. And when we interacted with the people, they made us know that after power changed hands, somebody who I do not know, we do not know, came to use white paint to gloss over the name, but you could still see it boldly. And I have heard that Chairman Wontumi is alleged to have said that he has no illegal miner on his side. But we are also fully aware that the very people we arrested were all situated on his facility. Therefore, there's a need for a real look at who is authorized to be doing what on his property, if so it is. But some of these are not for us to even go into. Ours is to make sure we first and foremost stop those who are doing that, and the police have aided us in arresting them. And when prosecutions begin, etc., then they can find the right answers to provide to whoever.
You mentioned that there were a number of operations like this happening across different parts of the country. Can you provide us a bit more details, not going into intelligence matters, but what the plan is from the Forestry Commission really in eradicating these illegals from the country's protected lands?
I would have wished to openly let you know of that, but you agree with me again that any form of information provision in that regard would mean it could compromise the operations. So I will not be able to give you any information regarding that, but trust that a lot is ongoing. The military are also at other places whilst doing that in collaboration with other agencies that are concerned or related to this matter.
Persons listening to you will be asking the question that this operation, the illegal mining operation, was discovered deep in a protected forest reserve. What is a specific plan or measure you're implementing at the Forestry Commission to strengthen surveillance and prevent such intrusions in other reserves? And mind you, there's that concern as well that even within the security architecture apparatus, persons from there leak information to these illegal miners when operations like these are expected to happen. How are you dealing with all of that?
It is the reason why with the operations we are carrying out lately, for instance, personnel are not aware where they are going, and amongst other things, and we have taken measures to make sure that the operations are not compromised in any way. More so, when you have persons express interest in wanting to know further details, it is right in their, it's right that they want to know those things, but to protect them and to also make sure we execute the program to its logical conclusion, we will not be able to divulge some of those information. And so one of the key things we have done as a regime is also to now begin to sit and look at, okay, what made it fail in the past years? Why was it not successful in the past years? Who and what did what? And so when you try to provide answers to most of these questions, you are able to make progress, and that, I must say, is what has actually resulted in the success of what you are seeing, of what happened yesterday.
And if I can ask, what is your plan at the Forestry Commission? I asked what the plan is at the Forestry Commission in relation to what targets you set for yourself between now and possibly the end of the year in what you want to do in ridding the forest of illegal miners. Are you setting a target of up to the end of the year to say that by the end of the year you would have removed all illegal miners from the country's protected forest?
Okay, thank you for this, my brother. Indeed, that power ultimately does not lie with the Forestry Commission because we have embarked on so many advocacy programs in order to make people know the need for them to stop these things. But you know, when money is involved, many will listen but will not act right. And it is the reason why we also need to know and appreciate that the Forestry Commission is not a weaponized institution. When you go to our neighboring countries, especially the French-speaking countries like Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Togo, etc., their Forestry Commission is almost a detachment. The guards are a detachment from the military. And so they have pure military training and are deployed to the Forestry Commission. But that is not the case in Ghana. So our forest guards, for instance, are not weaponized. And so there's some kind of incapacity at that point. But it is the reason why we can only work with state institutions, especially the security services, and that collaboration is what will bring the results we saw yesterday. So we are hopeful that we'll continue in that spirit and be able to achieve more by ridding our forests, and not only forests. And let me also say this. Some have even questioned that, if it is not a forest, why are you talking? We are all Ghanaians. And so even if it is not a forest reserve that is being destroyed, Mother Ghana is still being destroyed and we should have a say. And so long as it is near even a protected area, we must be able to have a say in that regard to ensure that our water bodies are restored to become clean. The fishes, our aquatic life is also restored, and even food crops, etc., are not affected by the chemicals that we see being used, as well as the vegetation, amongst other things.
Elikem, we'll leave the conversation here. I appreciate that you could speak to us this evening.
Thank you so much, my brother, and do have a great evening.
Sure thing. That's Elikem Kotoko. He is the Deputy CEO of the Forestry Commission, speaking to us this evening following that operation at Samra Boy. They say investigations are ongoing. They are asking Ghanaians to trust that all persons, whether or not politically exposed, will be dealt with as the law mandates. Let's take you away from that to the Northeast region right now, because the Regional House of Chiefs, they are urging government and the 9th Parliament to expedite action on the passage of the anti-witchcraft bill into law to criminalize witchcraft accusations and related offences. According to them, people accused of witchcraft, mostly women, are often subjected to various inhumane treatment, hence the need for a law to defend and protect such people. In 2023, Ghana's 8th Parliament passed the anti-witchcraft bill, but it failed to obtain a presidential assent to become law. And now a member of Parliament for Medina, Francis Xavier Soso, he's relayed the bill for consideration and passage by the 9th Parliament. Let's stay a little longer on this subject matter. Christopher Mwaku, he's been engaging the Regional House of Chiefs. Let's go straight to him right now. Chris, we know the Northeast region has quite a number of witch camps, but the most notable, Gambaga, are the traditional authorities collaborating with civil society groups to make their voices heard on the need to pass this bill.
Yes, so, Mawuena, over the period, the Northeast Regional House of Chiefs, together with other stakeholders in the region, have been discussing measures to ensure that the Gambaga alleged witches camp is closed down, so that these women who are there will be reintegrated with their families in their various communities that they came from. So in 2023, when the anti-witchcraft bill was passed by Parliament, the people over there had some hope that all in all, these witches will be reintegrated into their communities. Unfortunately, this does not receive presidential assent, and so it could not become a law. This time, the bill has been relayed to Parliament, and so the Northeast Regional House of Chiefs are urging the 9th Parliament and government to ensure that this goes through for it to become a law.
Right, Chris, you've been speaking to Madam Haji Alamnatu Adam, one of the leads with respect to civil society.
Working with traditional authorities and other stakeholders to ensure that issues of witchcraft accusation does not have a place amongst the people of the North. And so their engagement with the Regional House of Chiefs, the director of Sontaba has been commenting on the fact that it's about time they criminalize witchcraft accusation. Let's take a listen to what she's been saying.
Witchcraft accusation, issues of child marriages, and livelihood support for women were the center of what the Queen Mothers needed attention to work on. And as Queen Mothers, we cannot work alone. Or as civil society, we cannot push anything alone without the custodians of the culture. The issues that are affected with witchcraft accusation. We have issues of banishment. We have issues of sometimes lynching. I'm sure the story of Madame Ikuya Dente still lingers with us because issues of witchcraft is quite deep-rooted in our culture. And for such things, it is the traditional authority who needs to come in strongly. And so as chiefs, our utmost responsibility is the protection of the people within our jurisdiction. And so we need your collaboration.
That's Haji Alamnatu Adam. Let's hear from the traditional authorities as well on this position of a return of the anti-witchcraft bill.
In the Act 29 of 1960, there's no witchcraft there. But if they bring a witchcraft case to the court, what I did was that I'm not looking for the one they have accused. I'm looking for those who have beaten the person. If you have beaten him, the police will now put a charge on him and bring him here. They thought I was just joking with them, but I needed the police to arrest.
Let's go on the telephone lines right now. Professor John Azuma is the executive director of the Sane Institute, one of the lead groups who've been pushing for this anti-witchcraft bill. It didn't see the light of day in the 8th Parliament and under the Eswal administration when President Nana Addo Dankwa could not assent to that bill. Prof, appreciate you speaking to us this evening, and a happy Easter to you.
Many happy returns to you and to your wonderful listeners.
Right. I started off on the premise of how your institution, the Sane Institute, and yourself was pushing for the passage of the anti-witchcraft bill that never saw the light of day. I cannot begin to imagine your disappointment when the president refused to assent to this bill. Now there's an attempt to relay it. What would you say is the expectation on this parliament on this particular bill?
Yeah, I am so. I was definitely devastated, along with my colleagues, for the fact that we worked so hard to get the bill passed in Parliament unanimously, and then the president simply refused to assent to the bill without any good reason. It was very, very frustrating. And so I am excited. I have remained in touch with Honorable Sosu, with the team that we have worked together over a number of years to get them passed. We went together with them to the camps, so we went together with them to all the meetings, and we sat in, we made contributions, and Sosu and his team worked so hard to get the bill passed, and we didn't want it to go to waste. Not least because the women, I think the victims are still there, and they need this bill to protect them. And so we are so happy that the bill has been relayed. But I was even happier now because the current speaker was so supportive of the bill. And the current president told us that he was going to sign the bill into law when he comes into office. And so our hopes are high, but we had the same high hopes when President Akufo-Addo was there, because he was an attorney himself, a human rights attorney himself for years, and he refused to assent to the bill. But we are very hopeful now. We have quite a number of partners in this parliament and in this government that we hope to see the bill pushed through.
With respect to what it is that you say is a lot of hope, what are the possible timelines you're seeking to have all of this assented to? Because we know we've seen it go through the entire process in Parliament, and so really there shouldn't be a difficulty this time around. Would you want to put a timeline to when you want to see this come to light?
Yeah, the timeline is actually very much dependent on the Speaker of Parliament. And I wish that people like our media friends like you, who have all been part of this campaign, will help us put the pressure on the Speaker's office, on the Speaker. The Speaker is the one who has to schedule for the bill to be late, to be read in Parliament. Now, it has been resubmitted, and it has to be late for first reading, and the process will kick in. So the Speaker scheduling what bills comes to the floor of the House is what we are waiting for now. And we are hoping that since this bill was passed in 2023, that he passionately supported it, As soon as there is a chance, he will bring it back to the floor of the House, and then the bill will go through the natural course. And we don't think there will be any opposition, and we are sure that this time the President will assent to the bill. So it's only the Speaker who needs to schedule the bill for it to be read for the first and second time, and then for it to be voted upon. So it's a scheduling issue with parliamentary schedules and the business that they have there. And we hope the Speaker will prioritize this bill for us.
And the last time we were here, when the bill had been passed, taken to the presidency, we learnt of faceless individuals who were fighting this behind the scenes. I recall interviewing you specifically here on 3FM, where you, amongst many other things, raised that concern. Is it the case that all of that has been dealt with? These faceless individuals who are fighting the bill, now they are in agreement that it is needed, and so you trust that this process will go through to the very end?
You have a very, very sharp memory. I indeed remember saying that. And you are right. We are not, we don't know them. We only have our suspicions. But we know that they are not gone. They are still there. The current parliament, people like Sosu and others, they know that there are forces behind the scenes that prevented the bill from being passed, from being signed into law. We know those forces are there. In fact, I heard you interviewing some of the traditional rulers. Not all of them, but some of the traditional rulers are completely against this bill. And there are some religious leaders who are completely against this bill. So our suspicions are that there are some traditional rulers and some religious leaders who are opposed to the bill because they see witchcraft, they see the practice of witch hunting as something to do with culture and tradition and religion, and therefore they think it would be an infringement on their rights. But culture that causes harm and religion that causes harm, the Constitution proscribes very clearly. And every religion proscribes it anyway. So I think that the forces are still there. And honestly, I want to add that these people are not opposing the bill because of religious and cultural factors only, but because they are getting some material financial benefit from the practice.
What could be these material and financial benefits, Prof? What could be these financial benefits you talk of?
Yeah, there is when you go to these camps, people have to take some items there. They have to they are kept there, and they are used to
Oh dear, it does appear our connection with Professor Azuma may have gone bad, and we'll try and have him come back quickly just to wrap up the conversation on what he's saying. Professor Azuma, and then get details of what it is that he's been telling us. But it's the anti-witchcraft bill. It's been taken back to Parliament. The expectation, as you heard Professor Zuma detail, is that the Speaker must schedule this bill, and then it will go through the processes, and then they are hopeful that the commentary of the President, John Dramani Mahama, while in opposition, Francis Xavier Sosu, who is now a member of the government with the 183 majority in Parliament, should see all of the work that went into this return and receive unanimous approval, and then go to the President for assent. Unfortunately, we cannot connect with Professor Azuma. Let's take you to some other matters having to do with the Easter celebrations at Kwewu. And as the annual Kwewu Easter Festival kicks into full gear, the Ghana Tourism Authority is aiming to increase paragliding flights from 138 last year to 200 this year on the iconic Ojianoma Mountain. Yvonne Nikwe reports that more women are conquering their fears to enjoy the breathtaking experience of soaring through the sky and the clouds above the scenic Kwewu landscape. And here's details of what Yvonne has captured for us.
A number of tourists have arrived at Ojanima Mountain, eager to experience the thrill of tandem paragliding. This year, the 20th edition, more women are boldly stepping up to take part in what many call a once-in-a-lifetime adventure.
So I'm hoping to see the town from above. I can't wait to have that stomach-churning experience, and I think it's going to be amazing.
It was a nice experience. I wasn't shaking anyway. I wanted to do it, so I came and I went and I conquered.
I'm thinking of the adrenaline rush will come with how the view from above as well, and I'm hoping it's very safe.
An increase in flights is expected to boost revenue for tourism, a fourth contributor to the country's gross domestic product. The Ghana Tourism Authority projects an increase in paragliding participation to 200 flights this year, up from 138 in 2024. Last year, over 7,000 revelers, representing 49% increase, were at the Kwewu Festival.
A remarkable 49% increase in the participation of the previous years. This growth not only heightens Ghana's rising prominence in West Africa premier tourism destination, but also underscores the festival's role in boosting local economies, creating youth opportunities, and showcasing our rich traditions.
The Deputy Minister for Tourism, Art and Culture, Yusuf Isaka Jaja, urged the Kwewu South Assembly to aggressively promote tourism in the area as a means of alleviating poverty and boosting the local economy.
Aligning with our vision of resetting Ghana and enhancing the Black Star experience, I urge the Kwewu South Municipal Assembly and all other MMDCs across the country to prioritize aggressive tourism promotion in its developmental agenda, fostering a public-private partnership with active stakeholder involvement. By doing so, tourism can contribute significantly to poverty alleviation by creating livelihood opportunities, particularly for unemployed youth and women.
Events like this festival highlights the tremendous potential of tourism in driving economic growth, creating jobs, and promoting the cultural heritage of our people.
Rainstorm in the early afternoon halted the first paragliding flight. 28 flights were recorded.
That's my colleague Yvonne Nikwe, 28. Let's go to her right now. Yvonne, talk to us as to the numbers. Did we see it go up or it ended at 28?
Okay, so it ended up at 28 for the first day of the paragliding festival because a rainstorm unfortunately disrupted the activities for the day. We're only hoping that there will be a fair weather throughout from morning to possibly by about 4 p.m. so that they could get an appreciable number. Mind you, the GTSS is hoping to get some 200 people do the paragliding, an increase from what they had last year, which is about 138.
We know that the Ghana Police Service has announced deployment of officers across the country for safety during the Easter celebrations. Talk to us about what it is like in Kwewu, which is a hot spot. It's a destination for the Easter celebrations.
So since yesterday till this evening, there's been huge police presence, hundreds of them in all folds, their FPV vehicles at designated points, motorcycles at every joint, ensuring that there's safety here till the festival ends. We do know that beyond the safety securities, there's an undertone of traditional issues unresolved. And so all of those things are being taken by the police to ensure that they are not surprised by any event for a peaceful Easter paragliding this year.
When we spoke earlier on television, the numbers in the township proper for the celebration was yet to pick up. Have we seen that grow a bit into this evening?
Well, we can only conclude by what we see this evening. Usually, indigents leave their place of abode probably in the morning. And so if you are leaving either Accra or Kumasi, it is envisaged that by 2-3 p.m. thereabouts, you should be in Kwewu, if indeed you want to be here for the Easter event throughout the evening and then tomorrow. So this evening, we'll look about to see if indeed everybody is here or the numbers have shut down.
Yvonne, thank you. Thank you very much. That's my colleague Yvonne Nikwe in Kwewu, at Kwewu in the Eastern region for us, following Easter celebrations at Kwewu. It's a place I've not been to celebrate Easter. One of my hot spots that certainly I need to be visiting. But I mean, I have to be here to ensure that the news goes on. And so we move from there to the Ashanti region, where for years Easter and Kumasi has been quiet, lacking major events to mark the season. But this year, a fresh excitement is sweeping through the city thanks to Ashanti Fest, a vibrant new festival blending culture, tourism and entertainment, spearheaded by the Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Amoako-Hene. The 10-day event is turning heads with its mix of carnival energy, talent showcases and rich cultural display. Today, the festival train rolls into Lake Bosomtwe, where hundreds of patrons are gathering for a day of excursions, music and celebration. Let's hear from the Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Amoako-Hene, on what it's been like and what his expectation is of the celebration.
Our scope when it comes to food is becoming limited, and we are westernizing most of our foods. Our local dishes are very healthy, and if we are able to promote same, should be able to promote the food industry and be able to even grow the local economy. The whole concept of Ashanti Festival was to be able to bring up the talents within the various sectors and how we will be able to get each of the sectors to complement each other, to be able to maximize the potentials we have within the local economy. Ashanti Fest has come to stay, and I'm pleading with you all to help us make sure Ashanti Fest succeeds and is successful in the years to come.
Ashanti Regional Minister Dr. Frank Amoako-Hene. Let's hear now from some of the patrons who made their way there and spoke to us.
We look at the kinds of let's say range of activities that has taken place so far. It has been so excellent. So I am encouraging the regional minister to make the event an annual event so that we can also have a source of entertainment going forward.
We have not really attended all the activities though, but I went for the movie night yesterday, and then I learned a lot. Even because nowadays with the youth, the film industry has come down. So when he came, he has encouraged them, and he has encouraged the youth as well that we have our people who can act, not necessarily that we should be watching the Nigerian movies and all these things.
We are all students at Amstead chapter. So we've seen our regional minister conducting the Ashanti Fest. So as a matter of fact, it's very, very important. Looking at the cleanup exercise and the onset to the cultural display and the drama competition, bringing all Ashantis together is a good initiative. So we are hoping that every year, if possible, we hold something like this, and we are always ready to support our minister to make it a success.
That's those are some patrons, excited patrons who partook in the Ashanti Fest event, and that's how we'll draw the curtains down on the Easter Good Friday edition of Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. As always, many thanks to you for doing the listening. Sat in for regular host Alfred Okanse and Beatrice Edu. They'll be back next week on Monday with a bit more for you here on 3FM with respect to news. A lot more news if you log on to 3news.com as well. I am Mawuena Egbeta, and the festivities are here. Do well to enjoy, but be cautious and take care of yourself. Enjoy the holidays.